John Bernard Isola, patriarch of the largest family in North America, which the 2010 census showed the size of his family made China look like a one-horse town. He's a father, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather. As a young boy, he was dealt a serious illness which could have left him crippled. He grew up poor in a poor neighborhood in New York City, and in his late teens, joined the U.S. Army at the end of World War II, was part of the greatest generation. And through some of life's hard knocks, he came out the winner in the end. We'll explore the life of the man known as the Family's Rock. This is Biography.
Growing up in a big family, my dad instilled in me a desire to dream about a family of my own based on the family I was in. And my mom, being a mom that stayed home, it was really good for me to be able to say, that's what I want when I get older. I want to be able to have a family and raise my children and have a husband that's willing to work hard like my dad did. And I was able to marry a man like that.
And John did work hard. What gave him the drive to want to always keep his head above water, no matter what it took? We have to go back to 1931. America was in the Great Depression, and the inventor of the long-lasting electric light bulb, Thomas Edison, had died. But another creation came forth on June 11th of that same year. Like a fiery spitball with the force of a great volcano, John Bernard Isola shot out of his mother's womb, determined to take on whatever the world throws at him.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Yes, that newborn entered the Earth's atmosphere with a spring in his step and a song in his heart. And John was not afraid to swing at life's curveballs, and always seemed to knock them out of the park like the great Babe Ruth. John's father, John Sr., took to wife an Irish lassie whose family was very well off, but she forsook her wealth for the blue-collar Italian man, and they settled down in New York City. A man from Italian stock marrying a fiery Irish woman? It made for quite the tense household, like having a Thanksgiving celebration at Little Bighorn. Together with his older brother Charlie, they grew up on the tough streets of New York City. But when John B. was a young boy, he developed osteomyelitis, a bone disease which could have left him crippled. With the disease progressing, he became seriously ill, and his mother Winifred rushed him to the hospital. But with the blessings of penicillin, which was new in those days, the doctors were able to cure his crippling disease. John grew to be a strong young man. He soon grew tired of the fighting between his parents and wanted to find a way to escape the financial frustrations brought on by the Great Depression. Their finances were strained due to the lack of work and the downturn in the economy. John decided that the way to escape the hardships of the Isola family and find adventure and travel was to join the United States Army. In 1948, John B. Isola, at age 17, enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed in Germany. He spent the next 3 years serving our country and also got to participate in America's favorite pastime.
Welcome to the French Chef.
No, the other pastime.
The pitch to work. There's a long
That's
drive to
why.
deep center field base, back to the wall.
John was quite the athlete in his young days, But he had also developed into a man who people naturally trusted and liked, which would be the foundation of his future occupation.
When I first started seeing Liz, I was intimidated a little bit when I first met the family. Um, Dating the daughter of a fellow that was 6 feet tall from New York as an Italian, it can be a little intimidating. And having four brothers kind of magnified that. But the more I got to know everybody, the more interesting it was and challenging for me, because I knew that Dad, being such a goal-oriented person and raising the family the way that he did, that was a focus of his, and that was always an inspiration to me and helped me see things through that light also. So I was always, I became less intimidated and more encouraged by watching him do what he did and the focus that he had. So that was really good for me. And then of course, through the years with the support in the family and encouraging and being there for us in different situations, in many different ways, in a variety of ways throughout our life. And just seeing him too be mindful of his health, giving up the smoking habits years ago and getting in at the health club and just, a man of his age and being so active as he is and healthy the way he is. And of course, hanging out with the club, you got your buddy in the pool named Bob and his friend in the hot tub, Stu. Yeah, that always helps too. But it's always interesting too. And, a lot of people in society today have so many different vices that are very unhealthy. And Dad's very conscientious about that. He loves going to horse races, but he at least plans for it. He knows. He says, hey, here's my budget. This is how much money I'm going to spend. And he goes, I'm not going to go over that. And that's good. That's an example too. He's not doing some of these really bizarre things that people are doing and getting carried away. So I really do appreciate the control that he has. You don't see that too often anymore in society today. We certainly do need a lot more of that. So thank you, Dad. We love you. And thank you also for your recent comments to me about Liz and I and our family too. I really appreciate that.
All right, one of the greatest birthdays ever. To this day, it just stands out. I don't remember a lot of birthdays when I was a kid, but this one was the best. My birthday is on September 6th, which is always, at least when we were going to school, it was like the second or third day of school, which is always kind of a bummer because it was, school starting and then you have your birthday. And I remember this particular birthday, I think I was 6, first grade, and I had gotten in trouble at school already. Second or third day at school, and I'm in trouble. I've got a note home from the teacher, and I'm walking home from La Tercera. And I remember just dreading coming home and having to show that note to Dad. And of course, La Tercera is only a few blocks from the house. I get to the corner of our block, and there's Mom standing there. I'm like, why is Mom? Because she never comes to meet us. We're only a minute and a half walk from school. And so she comes up, and I'm telling her how I'm dreading going home and showing Dad this note. And I had totally overlooked the fact that it was my actual birthday. And sure enough, I get home, and in the garage was Dad putting the finishing touches on my bike. My very first bike, a brand new purple Schwinn, purple sparkle banana seat, tassels in the handlebar. And I remember that whole thing just washed away. We never spoke about trouble at school, and it was awesome. And I remember just riding that bike around all day. And to this day, that is probably one of the most vivid memories of my childhood. So thanks, Dad, for my bike, and I hope you have a great 80th birthday. See you at home.
Yeah, so I growing up in the Isola household back in the 70s. And
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. One more time, so we don't have noise.
Okay.
Chuck, take 3.
So yeah, growing up in the Isola household, I remember back in the 70s and early 80s, I got really good at, and I just picked this up, kind of going forward is, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And I really got that because, you know, my parents, I used to come home when I was going to Sac State, going to college, and I vividly remember every 3-4 months coming home, and I would sit down with my mom and dad till 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and they would just talk my ear off, not being able to get a word in edgewise, and all I could say was, yeah, uh-huh, oh yeah, uh-huh, yeah. So, yeah, my parents were good talkers.
I remember the first time I met Mom and Dad, and Chuck brought me home to meet the parents. And we sat on the couch, and Dad talked for hours. And I thought, wow, this is great. You know, I'm really getting to know him. And then Mom started talking, and it was just so great to get to know them. But Chuck was doing a lot of that, uh-huh, yeah, uh-huh, you know, and it's interesting because I kind of started to do the same thing, and every once in a while I would want to chime in and talk, but yeah, so that was my first experience with them, and just great people.
Well, John, first of all, happy birthday to you. But you're 90th, if you're 80th, I beg your pardon, I already made you 10 years older. But anyway, being that we are the oldest people over here in our court, I can remember when we all moved in here at the same time in 71, and you, Chris, Matt, and maybe one of your other kids came over, and we all sat around the kitchen table and had cookies and milk. And then, of course, when Chuck was alive, you came over for a cup of coffee here and there, whatever. So we always have been good neighbors, and if we needed anything, you were there to help, and so was your wife, Lorraine. God bless her. And also, when when you needed anything, so was Chuck over there all the time to help you out. And I still can see you two guys sitting in the garage, shooting the breeze for hours. And I said, okay, where's my husband? And all I had to do is look out the door, and there you two were, shooting the breeze, sitting in the garage. But I hope you have a wonderful year, the coming year, that is, and many, many, many more to come.
So, after Lorraine passed, a few months later, John Isola asked Matt and I if we would come move into the house. He just said, come in, take over, I just need my back room, and that's it. So we did. And I had my second baby like a month after I moved in, and I've had 2 more since. So we have this big family, which is great, raising up in the house that Matt grew up in. And it's been wonderful. It's been so special having the kids grow up with a grandparent. And I think their most favorite part of the house is Grandpa's room. In fact, every night, it seems, half hour before bedtime, we turn off the TV, it's jammy time, brush your teeth. They all seem to sneak into Grandpa's room and sit up in his high bed like they're kings and queens. And he turns the cartoons back on, and he sneaks them their second helping of ice cream. Did I mention after they brush their teeth? And it's just a special time for them. They love it. They love Grandpa. He's funny and gives them money all the time. And I'm really blessed. He's always been there for me and Matt. He's so generous and kind, and we're very blessed that we live with him. And thanks, Dad, and happy 80th birthday. We love you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Are we live?
We're live. Go.
Oh yeah. You know, I remember when I was 11 years old, I went around the corner to a friend's house, Aaron, and his dad is a pilot, and he owned a single-engine Cessna plane at the Petaluma Airport, and his dad offered to take us both up for an airplane ride, but I had to come home and get permission from Mom and Dad, and that they had to call over his house and let him know it's okay. So I was so excited that I ran back around the corner to our house, and nobody was home. Mom was gone shopping, and all the kids, they were all gone with Mom. Only Dad was here. So, you know, I asked Dad, hey, can I go up in an airplane with Aaron's dad? And Dad just looked at me and said, well, you know, it really doesn't bother me if you fall out of an airplane, but it might upset your mother.
John Bernard Isola. His weapon of choice at dinner time, ketchup. I'm not sure if this was to cover Mom's lacking culinary skills, which I'll admit up until about the age of 10 was questionable. But every night, every single meal we ate as a family, this covered everything on his plate. And it was just a known thing that if there's no ketchup in the house, bad things are going to happen at dinner. So, ketchup. It should be called John B. Isola sauce.
So I vividly remember when I think I was 11, 12 years old, and I was a soccer player, of course, that's all you know. And we were playing a game down at Lucchese, and it was raining, and the field was super muddy. So we decided at the end of the game to go slide in the mud. So I came home, mud head to toe. And the shower happens to be in my mom and dad's bedroom. And so I just traipsed myself right into the house and right into their bedroom and back into the shower and left all my soccer gear and everything there after the shower was over, along with all the mud, and thought nothing about it. But Dad certainly thought something about it. He was not happy. And all I could hear back in his room was, John, Mary, Chris, Liz, Matt, Chuck.
Yeah, you know, Dad, even though he stands like a rock, he was the rock of the family. He had to be, he really had to portray the very pillar of the family, because he had to raise 6 kids and a wife. He was the only breadwinner. But you know, under that rock exterior, you know, Dad is a real softie. Very, very generous. And he helped me actually move from Nashville when Matt and I and Jen and Sherry, we moved to Nashville for several years and moved back. And Dad helped me move back and get me set up with a place. And Dad actually found the house that I currently live in right now. It's a little much of a house. It's a little too big, but that's all right. It's home. Dad, thanks for all you've done, and happy 80th.
That's one thing that I love about my dad, and I know everybody else loves about my dad, is that he will give his shirt off his back to anybody out of love. My dad has always been an inspiration to me. Dad, you've always been one of my best friends. Always there to just lend support. I've been through some tough times in my life, Dad, and you've always been there to just pick me up, give me some great, wonderful fatherly advice, and have really taught me how to do the right thing. And I think that's the bottom line, and that you always taught me was the importance of being a good person and doing the right thing, and really building a foundation for my love of the Lord and Jesus Christ today too. And you didn't do that by telling me. I saw it in your actions. So that was really powerful for me, and it's very powerful for me to this day, is that you demonstrate your love of the Lord, and you've always been an amazing role model for me.